welcome to another episode of the Square Up podcast, where we help you give your brand a fighting chance. I am Ashley Danielle, and today we have one of my favorite YouTube fabulous people on the show today. Me as a social media manager, as a web designer, all that kind of stuff, I literally binge social media stuff all day on YouTube. I just let it play in the background while I work. And I will say, Latasha, I definitely watch your stuff all the time. Like it is in the consistent rotation. And whenever anybody comes to me for a tip or something, I'm like, I could, or I could see this video. She kind of already broke it down. So we have the wonderful Latasha James. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And same, I'm like a huge social media consumer reviewer, all that. So I appreciate you watching and having me.
No problem. Like, I'm honored. And I know those of you who've been following me for a while, you guys know that I started out on YouTube. So I started a natural hair YouTube channel many moons ago, before the kids, before the everything, before Instagram, and was on there. And fortunately, all of my YouTube people followed me to Instagram. When Instagram started, I just kind of said one day, hey, there's this thing, I'm on it. And everybody followed me over there. So that's kind of how that happened. But when my business actually started, it was basically the result of people asking me for tips. And they would say, hey, how are you growing your Instagram? How are you handling your YouTube? And I was doing one-on-one consultations with people that turned into, well, can you just do it for me?
Yep.
Then that turned into, hey, I actually work at this company. Could you do theirs? And it's been spiraling ever since in a very beautiful way. But Latasha, being able to see so much of the business side of your life. And I love how you just a little bit sprinkle the personal side in your life. She's a master at that. If anybody's like, I want to be more visible on social media and on YouTube, but I don't want to give away my whole life, I think you do that beautifully. It's just enough for us to want to hang out with you and meet you for coffee. But it's not enough for you to be on the shade room.
Right. That's good. I'm glad I'm striking that balance. I'm trying.
There you go, making the balance. So if you could just take a couple of moments and just kind of introduce yourself and just let everybody know, who you are, what it is that you do, and help us meet you currently.
Yeah, for sure. So I am a marketing strategist, content creator, online educator. I have a pretty similar story to yours, I think, in that I started creating YouTube videos just for fun. I did like makeup reviews and things like that. And I started researching marketing, like how do I get more views on my videos? And, what is SEO and all these different things. And that's kind of how I stumbled into social media marketing. So yeah, I have served a ton of clients from, I primarily work with tech startups is like my main niche for who I work with for video content and social media. And then I also train other entrepreneurs, freelancers, and have helped thousands of people through my courses and YouTube videos and podcasts.
We are almost the same person. We should meet for coffee. Like, that's the thing.
We should, yes.
This should happen. Yeah, because that's kind of exactly like we say, we're accidental entrepreneurs. Like, it wasn't on purpose. It just kind of happened. And once you get into that world, I think one thing I agree, well, not agree, one thing that I actually is refreshing about your YouTube channel is that you really seem like you enjoy what you do. Mm-hmm. And I think there are some YouTubers or people just in their fields or in this industry, one, they either get into it because they think it's super easy and they learn very quickly, oh, this is an actual job. Yes, this is something you have to do. And I don't think they love it. I said, I am one of those people. I don't know what it is. Call me whatever. I really like social media.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's like a puzzle for me. I was just saying this recently, like business and social media, it's like putting together a puzzle. Mm-hmm. I know all the pieces are there. I just need to figure out where exactly they go and at what point in time we put them together. And it's fun for me. Like, it's kind of like a little game. It can definitely be hard, but it's also very fun.
I agree with that. It's a game. And one tip that I usually give people is when it comes to whatever social media platform that you want to use, I'll say you don't have to be on all the things. Yes. But when you pick the things, I follow the pick two model. Pick two and focus on those two. And then you can add stuff later. But I just say whatever two that you pick, you have to commit to playing the game.
Yeah.
Whatever they say their game is. Like if they say we want videos, you can't say, I'm not making any videos. Well, they're not going to show your content. Like,
Yep.
or if YouTube is saying, I need your videos to be this length and I need you to post them this frequently and get this many watch hours. And then you only post something twice a quarter. Right. Well, you're not playing their game. So when it comes to building, I want you to walk us through kind of you building or decide getting on a new client. And you're like, this is from scratch, not somebody who has like a plan. And they're just kind of like, okay, I want to do Instagram and Facebook for my business. I think, you know, we need to get a greater presence there, but we have nothing. Like, how is the conversation go with that client? Not necessarily about their marketing plan, but about the shift their mindset has to take.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. I agree. Pick two. I recommend long form and short form. Okay. So I think long form content is something that not enough people invest in, and it is an investment. It takes time. I get it. Like a YouTube channel does not, you're probably not going to have a viral YouTube video like you could a TikTok just randomly on your second TikTok, but it's like an investment. You know, I think of it like real estate. So I really push if people are, you know, trying to start a new social media strategy, I really encourage them to invest in a long form platform along with one of those more short, you know, trendy, more viral kind of platforms if they can. So I try to explain to them, and it's really about education, you know, why that's important, why that's an investment. I use my own case studies. Like right now, 90% of my leads at any given day are coming directly from YouTube. A lot of those are videos that are 5 years old. You know, so I'm able to kind of illustrate those case studies for them, which gets them to start making that mindset shift. And then I think, again, it's just more education about the importance of content. And like you said, I mean, you can't really do social media without doing video nowadays. So what's the plan for video? Like, are you going to get on video? Are we going to hire a face of the brand? Do we have somebody on the team? Do you want me to do videos? Like, there's lots of different formats that can work, but we got to get over the, we're not doing video thing.
Unless you're only doing Twitter.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, really. Twitter, even LinkedIn has videos now, live videos, and
LinkedIn has the creator mode now.
Yeah.
Switch your account to a creator account. And not only does that, open up you doing more video and things like that, it prioritizes it.
Yes.
So it literally is like, you need to be coming with something. And I think one thing to make it not overwhelming is, like you said, a long form and a short form. The easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is to just, you know, take clips from your long form and use it on your short form instead of trying to I'm just not the person. I love watching educational videos where people are pointing at things in the sky. Works for me. Like, I like to watch it. I don't do those.
Nope.
I would rather just take a clip from the YouTube and make a 59-second video. And post that, because I'm also a little lazy. So I'm not going to, I want to use all the things. We're going to put a clip on Facebook. We're going to put a clip on YouTube. We're going to announce it on Twitter. We're going to use the same clip on everything.
Absolutely. Repurposing is a huge part of my strategy, both for my own brand and for my clients. And I mean, you can even find content that clients already have. You know, I work with a lot of software companies and things, and they have blogs or tutorial videos that we can maybe we won't post that exact thing, but that's a content idea that I can easily create an Instagram story and an Instagram reel around. So like, do a little bit of digging, you know, when you first get a client, and see what they already have out there. Cause a lot of people already have more than you'll need if you go through their emails, their blog, their website, all that.
And even if one thing I think is great, and I'm going to ask you a question in a second, but one thing I love, you mentioned blogs. A lot of us, like me and my crew of friends who are on social media, we like to say we were like the OG bloggers back in the day. You know, remember the time, I don't know if you do, like, remember when you literally had your favorite blogs and you would like look for them on Tuesdays, like Monday and mostly Tuesday. Tuesday was like the blog day. And everybody released their new blog post on Tuesday morning. I'd be sitting there with my coffee and just, I'll spend the whole first hour of work reading everybody's blog and stuff. And now people, when you're looking for what do I put on social media, I'm like, go to your old blog posts And literally you could copy a paragraph and make it a caption.
Yep.
And then just
100%.
find something pretty to go with what you already wrote 6 years ago.
Yes, totally.
It makes it super that's just a little tip. But question. So I want to know more about just your background, and not even just like your professional background, but like just starting up. You grew up as like what kind of kid and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of and leading up to okay, now I'm in college and I'm majoring in what. So just take us back for a second.
Yeah. I grew up very weird kid. My mom always tells the story. I told her I was the president of the weird club at my school. That was a real thing when I was like a little kid. I was very eccentric. Like I just liked what I liked. I was also very, very shy, painfully shy. And so I never really had a ton of friends. And I think that's really where social media came in for me. When I was, I don't know, probably 14-ish, maybe 13, 14 is kind of when Zanga started coming around. That like early blogging platform. What was it? Blogger, like some of those.
Blogspot. We could go way
like
back.
Friendster, things like that. Yeah. So I really message boards even, and I just really started to delve into those communities, and I felt like I could express myself. I've always felt like I could express myself better written than speaking. And so, so I just felt like I finally was making real connections and finding communities. And that's what really got me hooked into social media. But yeah, like I come from a very musical family. Like my mom's family is all artists. They all play music or like paint or draw or anything. So very creative. Like that was always instilled in me. Her parents were also semi-entrepreneurs. Like, it's not that glamorous, but they what do you call it? They were like, grew seeds for the DNR and things like that.
Say it again. They did what now?
They grew seeds.
Like,
like they sold seeds to different places, and it was like a big, not a huge business, but it was
like
successful.
That's a necessity. Got it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, so that was always kind of normalized for me, like the idea of entrepreneurship, not necessarily, again, this like glamorous view of entrepreneurship, but I always knew that it was possible to start your own business and do your own thing. So I think it was always kind of in the back of my head. But yeah, that's kind of what I was like growing up.
Weird child in a cute weird.
Yep.
So there we go. And I love that you said that you were writing, that you could always get your point across like better. I had one of my friends I hate being cut off when I'm speaking, and it's not like it makes me angry. It makes me shut down. Like I won't finish the rest of my sentence. I'm like, okay. And I would just let the other person like, all right, never mind. I think I'm the youngest. I think it's like baby child. You are too?
Yep.
And I had this conversation with someone yesterday, and he said he's also the youngest child and he feels the same way. Apparently we were cut off our entire childhood. And we're like, listen, look at me. Like, I'm speaking. And a friend of mine told me once, she said, I think you became a writer so people couldn't cut you off. Yeah. And she's like, you are able to get your entire thought out. And now people, even if they don't read all of it, at least you got it all out. And that's why you were able to start writing. Because I started writing in the 3rd grade. Yep. Me and my 3rd grade teacher are still connected. Aww. And like I was at her wedding. She went to my college stuff. Like she's great. And she was the first person to get something published for me because she said, I'm not going to say I didn't talk a lot. I did. I was not shy. I'm like the anti-shy kid. But she said, the way that you explain things when you write is so different than when you're actually saying them. And I think when it comes to social media as well, like we always say, people get like that keyboard courage. Yep. And they're able to say things that they wouldn't normally say. And that can be used for good and evil.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely for good and evil. But I think the beautiful side of it is when someone who really has something they want to say and feels like they aren't being heard in their personal life spaces can write it down and get it out and still express it, whether it be just an individual or a company. They might just have a thought. We're like, we're really trying to get this message across to our consumers, and we're doing it in our day-to-day spaces, and we don't think it's connecting. Can we figure out a way to connect it like on social media and build that community? Okay, so you going through middle school, high school, being like secret artistic, eclectic, with the super eclectic family, wonderful. And you get to college and you decided to major in what?
Film. I went to school for film. So I took my first film class. I think it was my senior or junior year of high school. They had this education for the arts program. You got to go off campus, and it was a really cool program. And I loved it. I feel very similar to you with writing on video, because a lot of people are like, wait, how do you make videos if you're so shy, or if you don't feel like you express yourself as much? But the camera is an inanimate object. Like it's not talking back. It's not interrupting me. It's not judging me. I'm able to stop, start, edit, editing is like magic. So I really, I really learned to love creating films. So I actually really didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. I just went to community college my first year because while I loved my film classes, I was like, is this realistic? Like, what's the game plan,
am I going to be Steven Spielberg?
Probably not. So what's the game plan? So I just went to community college and just did all my gen eds. And the one that I was the most terrified about was public speaking. I was like, oh gosh, like, how do I get out of this? But I had to take it. And it turns out I loved my professor. He is like, what's probably my all-time favorite instructor I've ever had. And he just made me feel so comfortable, so heard, like he made me feel so confident. And, I aced his class, and then I went on and I took his advanced public speaking class. And then his wife also taught at the college in the School of Communication. So I took her classes, and I was like, okay, well, I'm in the School of Communication. I really like these classes. I guess I'll major in comms. And then, so when I transferred to university, film was in the School of Communication. So I was like, I don't know, maybe it was just meant to be. So when I was in school, I primarily focused on like the broadcast side. So I did a lot of on-camera stuff, like reading from a teleprompter. I kind of tossed around the idea of working in the news when I was in school. Changed my mind about that as well once I started to research. Like, it's hard work. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard work. Like, bless all of you who are doing that job, because it's important work, but it's definitely hard. Early mornings, not a lot of pay when you're first starting out.
And that's the track I was on. I went to school for journalism, and I was a journalist for about a year when I finished school. And it's like, I'm not doing this for the next 40 years. It's not going to happen.
It's hard.
It's a lot.
So in college, I kind of started just experimenting. I was working, retail, just like normal college jobs. And honestly, like, it's not a super glamorous or like meaningful story, but I was just looking for ways to make more money, to be honest. And I was like,
no, but I love that. I think we need to understand that. I think we're in a culture of, we have a misconception of what purpose means. And what passion means. And everybody is on this wave of, I want to make sure that my job is, helping me like with my purpose. And I saw someone write recently, like, what if your job is just supposed to pay for you to live a life of purpose in some other way? Your job does not have to be that all-consuming, all-encompassing, purpose-driven thing. Like, you could be a bank teller, and we need bank tellers, and they're amazing, and that's just what you could do. But it's keeping a roof over your head and feeding your children, and you're taking them on vacation, and you're raising them to be wonderful little assets to society. Like, that's still fulfilling your purpose. You don't have to be Gandhi. Like,
for sure. And I mean, kind of unrelated, but related. Like, I think every job, within reason has meaning and has purpose. Like, my mom worked in food service my whole life. Like, it's not like a glamorous, high-end prestigious job by any means, but like, she is like the nicest person you'll ever meet. And she works in hospitals. So she is serving doctors, like, who might be in, day-long surgeries, or might have the most stressful days of their lives. And like, just being that positive spirit, I think has extreme value in being a light in somebody's day. So yeah, you don't have to be like, this, the next Oprah or anything like that. Whatever you do can have meaning for sure.
Exactly. So, okay, still going. You were basically just looking for way to make some money.
Yeah, more money. So I stumbled upon a job that was posted on LinkedIn, but it actually was on Upwork, like where you went to apply. Back then it was called Elance, but it's Upwork today. And it was a blogging job. It was $20 a blog post. And along the way, I had always kind of had my own little blog. It wasn't anything serious. It was just like, here's something I'm liking right now. Here's a restaurant I went to, just like fun, like a journal really for me. So I submitted with a few of those blog posts, some of my best ones that I could find as portfolio content, got the job, and started writing blogs for $20 a blog post. And over time that kind of snowballed into, freelance social media management.
Is it crazy that we used to write blog posts for $20? Like,
yeah.
I honestly think I remember doing some for like 10. Like I was like doing it, especially if it was mostly pictures.
Oh yeah.
And they sent me pictures and was like, hey, can you write, the copy to go along with this? Like I think I'm almost 100% certain that I was writing full blog posts with links in them to cross, for different blogs that were on the page and everything for $10.
For sure. But you also have to start somewhere. And, I definitely believe in paying people what they're worth and all that. And like, I'm really happy that I feel like this younger generation and where we are now really does know their value. I think that's great. But I also will say I've done a lot of work for very low cost. I've done a lot of work for free, volunteering. And just because it's like, this is going to look good in my portfolio. So I think you also have to be able to use that discernment of, when is it like value is not just money, value can also be a really great testimonial, a really great portfolio project, a really great experience.
Yeah.
Like I volunteered on film sets and stuff when I was in film school just to have that experience. And now that helps me so much in my business. So it's definitely, you have to strike a balance there.
I think, like you said, discernment. You really have to figure out which ones are worth it. I recently, let's say a few years back, I was a panel moderator at this event out in California. And I'm in Alabama. So it was just like, I was so excited. My brother lived out there. And at that point in time, the guy that he was seeing, they were living in California. Yep. And so me and my sister, we went out there, hung out with them, and I was speaking at this event. It was really cool. And that particular event, on the panel, it was like, like Kenya Barris, like his wife, like the actual Rainbow Bears, like she, so I was like, she was on the panel, and then like some amazing just business owner women or whatever. Yeah. And I got to be like, I'm still connected with those women.
Yep.
And just from that experience, and I was so excited to be chosen because we did kind of have to audition. We had to send in a video. I should send that to you. It's still on YouTube, but it didn't.
Yeah. Yep.
And I went on that experience, but like I paid to be there.
Right.
It's not like they paid me. Like they took care of like my food and stuff, but like I paid for my plane ticket. Like me and my sister, like we paid for like the hotel and stuff. But we didn't have to, like, I was able to bring 2 people to the conference to like assist me and stuff. So we got that and swag and all that. But it was like I invested my own money to be there.
For sure.
And fast forward, that was like, I want to say 2018 or so. Just at the end of June, that same conference, they contacted me to teach a whole session on social media marketing and branding.
That's amazing.
And that conference now, the founder of it, she runs like a major venture capitalist just organization. It's amazing. She sits on the board for Steve Madden now.
Nice.
And all of that has happened. And now I had access to all of those people because I was able to do this event for free. And I think
for sure
you have to use discernment. There were certain things even during that time, I'm like, I'm not doing this for free. But when that particular, I knew her and like where her vision was, I'm like, she's amazing now. She's going to keep going forward. She used to work with so many amazing people in Hollywood. I'm like, I just need to be in the room. And sometimes you have to read the situation and say, you just need to be in the room.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I have so many stories like that as well. I mean, you have to pick and choose, because for every amazing opportunity like that, there's also those, hey, can you just work for free for my like brand that nobody knows? Of course, don't do that. Know the value. But again, I think it really is understanding that value is not just financial. Like, value can be a network, it can be an experience, it can be fun. There's lots of different types of value.
Quote of the day. Quote of the day. Value is not just financial.
Yeah.
I need you to understand there are other ways that you are benefiting from this connection and from this experience. I usually my thing is children. Like if somebody asks for like my speaker kit or something, always in the bottom there's like a little asterisk and it says all rates are negotiable for organizations that serve children.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
I will. So they'll look at my speaker fee and stuff and probably be like, we don't know. But I'm like, if it's like the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA or something, I'll probably do this for free. Like,
right.
Get me there and feed me food.
Yep. Yep.
And we're good. That. And so, okay. So in college so did you finish college?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So you finished college, then you get out of college and do what?
Yeah. So I was freelancing, and by that time I'd started my YouTube channel as well. Just again, as like an extension of that blog. It was just for fun. Like I said, I was doing beauty and fashion and lifestyle content, still freelancing while working at my paid internship. But I was freelancing a lot more. Those $20 blog posts were adding up. I was seeing like, okay, this is something. I actually also got some freelance film projects. Worked with like an author and things like that, shooting a sizzle reel kind of thing for her. So I started to see that freelancing was a possibility. Yeah. So I freelanced full time for a couple months after college while I was job searching. And then I got a job at GM here in Detroit, like an automotive company, in their marketing department. And I moved out here. I had like 13 days to move from the other side of the state to Detroit. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Didn't know anyone here except for my now husband. And we were very like just starting dating at that point in time. So it was a very interesting move, but I worked in their marketing department for a couple years. And then I moved to another corporate company for a couple years, doing social media. All the while I was still side hustling. Like I always took on clients just because I wanted to learn as much as I could. Yeah. I was young, I was full of energy, and it really helped me in my corporate career, like the work that I was doing for my clients and vice versa. And then after a few years of that, I quit and went full-time in my business.
What was that like? You just said that, okay, for those of you who are listening and not watching, I wish you could see how calm her face was when she just said that, like, yeah, I just quit. And then I started my own business. Yeah. Like, what was that like? And it's just that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for so long now, but like, it's not as emotional when we talk about how intense that probably was at that time. So like, what was it like when you deciding, okay, like I quit, I'm just for myself?
It's weird because I am a planner to some degree, but I also am I have a good balance of planning versus going with the flow. Good. And, that I think it's kind of important, especially in this type of career, because we can plan all day and something will throw us for a loop. So I always saw full-time entrepreneurship as something that would be cool. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to work for myself. I like working in sweatpants, like whatever.
Great idea.
Yeah. But I didn't have like a set date. I wasn't completely miserable in my day job by any means. I was very, very lucky. Like we worked from home 3 days a week as it was at my corporate job.
Oh, okay.
So it was super flexible. So I was kind of like, I don't really have a reason to quit right now. I got paid fairly, all that, but I actually went through something like pretty traumatic personally. My dad died in late 2018.
Okay.
And for me, that was just kind of, it was losing someone that close to you just really puts things into perspective. I was like, my dad was super young. He was only 51. And I was like, oh my goodness, like life is going by, and even though I don't hate my job by any means, do I want to sit in this cube, like, this white cube for, the rest, who knows how long. And I also really struggled with my mental health during that period of time. It was just really hard. He died pretty tragically and, suddenly, and it was just a really hard time. I kind of just like didn't want to do the corporate thing anymore. I wanted to be able to just take a mental health day if I needed to, do what I needed to do, not have to talk to people if I didn't want to. So yeah, a couple months after that is when I officially quit. I had been, like I said, kind of having it in the back of my head for probably a year or so. So I was saving money. I really did not touch any of my side hustle money. I pretty much like put that away in a business bank account, and I used that to pay my taxes.
I love that.
And to save. Yeah. I was like, I'm making a good salary as it is. Don't live above your means. Like, just save that for your little nest egg. And, you know, I mean, I was able to save like six to 8 months of expenses by the time I had quit. So that really helped ease that anxiety over leaving my day job for sure.
Advice. I need to, okay. She has a whole video about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Preparing yourself to go full-time as an entrepreneur. And that was a very helpful video. I am the opposite in a sense of, I am so not a planner. Yeah. I literally will just uproot all of the decisions we have made in 10 minutes. And I'm like, hey, what we're actually going to do is blah, blah, blah. But, and first, thank you for sharing about your dad. Similar situation. Like when I say I'm an accidental entrepreneur, first things when it came to me knowing I wanted to do something different. Similar, my mom passed away in 2010. She went into a coma in 2009. So it was very super sudden. She's 47 at the time. She was 48. And it was literally, I live in the city where like Mardi Gras started. So we are all about Mardi Gras. That was her favorite time of year. And I remember that Tuesday, we were all together. She didn't really feel good. And then she kind of kept getting sicker throughout the week. And she went into the coma that Sunday. So, but it literally was like, you know, we were just all together Tuesday. And then Sunday, she was sick. And when she woke up from the coma, she couldn't do anything. And so she was, you know, 47 years old, like in a nursing home because she couldn't do anything. But she passed a year and 4 months later. But I think that had a direct impact on how that same mindset of, okay, so this life is very short. Yes. And things can change very quickly. And I want to make sure that I am building a life that I actually get to live my life. I was a senior in college then. Yeah. And so I wasn't in adulthood yet, but it already made me think of like, I can't, like you said, I can't be at a desk all day, every day. And it never sat right with me when I would have jobs that made me just kind of be at the job all the time, every day of my life. It was like it's sucking life out of me. And then fast forward, a little more tragedy kind of thing, but you know, in a good way, turned out to be in 2015, because I got married in 2011, 2015, I got divorced. And it wasn't a fact of like, you know, a situation of I'm going to start a business and that's what we're going to do. No, I got a divorce and I was poor all of a sudden. Like, you're like, oh, I don't have any money. He had all of our money. I don't have any on my own. So one of my friends told me, and this is something I think everybody should do, and you know, just kind of refresh once a year or twice a year. She made me write down everything that I do that people pay me to do. Oh, I love that. Everything you do. She said, even if you hate it. Yeah. So it wasn't just, you know, what my career title was at the time, but she's like, people pay you to write. People pay you to edit things, like proofread things. People pay you to speak at things, like write it all down. And you figure out which one that you can make the fastest money from just right now. And you need to start doing that. And I literally announced one day I've been designing websites since I was 12, like way back then. And I just announced on social media one day, I already had the YouTube people who trusted me. I already had the Instagram people who trusted me. So like your character is very important, everyone who's listening. So I announced my business on November 1st and literally had booked out the rest of the year going into January in like 4 days. That's amazing. And I love it. I didn't even have a portfolio. Like people had nothing to judge my work off of. It was like only website at that point was my own. So it's like, I designed mine. And it's just one of those things of sometimes you have to just reassess for, like you said, like during that time, like your mental health was kind of taking a hit because so many different emotions, like don't let your career drive you insane because of the, you know, or don't let your career cause you to not give your mental health the attention it deserves.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, your life is not your job. It's not like your job, your career, your business. It's supposed to help you live a better life. Like that's what it is. You know, if you love it, that's great. But, you know, it's not everything. It's not who you are. Like your family is what matters. Your mental health is what matters. Your physical health, like whatever you prioritize. So if one of those things is not, you know, obviously it's normal to have off days, but if you're having off weeks, off months, and you can tie that to your job, like, you know, it's time to reevaluate for sure.
It's okay to think your job isn't super fun. It's not okay to loathe your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you hate it. Every morning you're depressed driving there. You hate being there. And when you leave, you feel freedom. And then then you hate to go again the next day. That is not normal. And don't let society tell you that that's normal. That's not normal.
Yes.
Okay. Agreed. So you've been out building your business, growing your clientele. Like you said, you're in that techie world, which I like the techie world too, but in the tech world, and you're enjoying it. But there are those days and those times where you're like, did I make the right decision? Like, this is a lot, you know, this not just this day, like this past few months have been a lot. Like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And I think we'll get to that point where we want to just give up. So if you could just kind of talk about those times when like you really were like, this is too much. I can't do this. You've been talking to your husband, like, you know what? I don't think we're going to do this anymore. But you wanted to give up, but instead you decided to kind of square up, fight for it, and like what that was like.
Yeah. I mean, I think like a lot of people, 2020 was a big reckoning with my workload and, you know, what exactly I was doing and prioritizing. I was still busy with business when, you know, the first rumblings of the pandemic started, but it was that I was very unsure, you know, everyone was panicking. What's going to happen with the economy? It's very similar to kind of what's happening now with people talking about this recession. And it was just making me really nervous. I had a course already that I had put together really just based off my YouTube videos, like things that people were asking me a lot. I put together a really low price course and kind of had it out there floating around, but it was making like a few $100s a month or something. It was a nice little extra pocket money, but it wasn't anything sizable. And when the pandemic happened, I was like, let me double down on additional revenue streams because this is like never happened.
We have no idea what's
100 years. We have no idea what's going to go on.
We woke up and they told us we can't go outside.
Yeah. So anything could happen. So I was like, let me maximize my potential to have success. And also I did use it as a way to serve people because a lot of people were losing their jobs or they had extra free time because they were all at home and they're like, hey, I want to start a side hustle. Yeah. So I was also able to help people learn how to do this. So I created my accelerator course, which is like my biggest ticket seller. It completely transformed the business. I mean, we went from being, you know, 80 to 90% client work, 10% passive income streams to the complete opposite. About 80 to 90% education based now. Yeah. And I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but it kind of did. Like it happened pretty quickly just by me putting some of that energy into something that I knew I needed to say. I knew I had the opportunity to help people with, and just getting out of like that stressed out mindset of what's going to happen with this client. I was just like, you know what, if this client drops me because the economy is taking a hit, it's fine. Cause I'm putting my time and my resources into this other thing. So,
and I think that was something, like you said, that was scary for a lot of us because, you know, like I said, I was already 3 years in, to being full-time with my business in 2020. And you're like, oh, okay. But it's crazily enough, I think we kind of had the opposite happen because businesses that had been completely brick and mortar all of a sudden realized, oh, I need a way to, and not even just businesses, there were nonprofit organizations. You have no idea how many like clients I got that were churches, like religious organizations, because now they didn't have any way to get in contact with their members.
Live streaming service and all that for sure.
Like we probably spent most of a big chunk of 2020 helping with live streaming and
Yep.
getting things set up, whether it was on their YouTube channel or they were doing something on Facebook or using some other platform like live stream or something, getting that kind of stuff set up for smaller churches that had never considered it. But I think it was crazy because I had recommended these services to so many people. They're like, oh, you know, we don't need to. Or I'm like, you know, your boutique, you have great pieces, you know, you should probably have an active Instagram page. And I'm like, no, you know, we get a lot of foot traffic, you know, people just come into the store and then it's like no one can come into your store and you legally can't even open your store.
Right.
And so our business kind of took off because there were so many people who needed those services. So even with that being said, you know, like you said, people are talking now about, you know, the possible this recession that's kind of looming over our heads, thinking of, let's just say what if the way that you're leaning on income right now isn't available for some kind of reason, like you know, they may not shut down the world because of an illness, but what if your business just has to close, the company closes because they can't afford to pay you guys anymore? These are real life things that could happen. So I love that you now have that accelerator course. Like I've looked at it. I will link that in the description too and in the show notes on the podcast so that people can visit it, because literally you do a great job at teaching what you do. And not, it's all honesty, not everybody, a lot of people who are experts in what they do, and I know you don't like that term expert, but people who are very proficient in what they do can't translate that to other people. Like not everybody knows how to do that. And you do a very good job at that. Okay. So we are going to start wrapping this up. I just want to know, is there anything new that you have coming down the stream that you want to like tell us about, or any new enrollments opening or anything that you want to share?
I am working on a new program for people who want to teach or like who want to teach online. So that'll be coming later in the fall. So stay tuned. Just follow me, you know, at the Latasha James. You'll hear about it for sure.
There you go. So I'm going to link all the things. So, you know, if you want to connect with her on social media, follow, like literally get lost in the beautiful rabbit trail of her YouTube like I do. Like just hit play.
There's a lot of content on there.
It's so much, but it's good though. Like it really is. And I think I was telling you, one of my recent social media students mentioned you while we were in a session. Cool. He's like, he's like, yeah, I've been watching these videos by this girl. She does really good videos. And I said, I just so happened to say, I was like, yeah, I really like Latasha James's videos. He's like, that's who it is.
Oh, I love that.
So that was so cool. I was like, yeah, because they're very like to the point. Some of them are, you know, shorter. And then she just has great videos just about life, like how to budget your food or you know, how to not spend all of your food eating out every day like I do. So
it's follow
a struggle. Follow Latasha's advice, not mine, because I will be like, oh, let's go to Starbucks 3 times today. Like that's me. But thank you again so much. And thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned again. You know, every week we release a new episode, and be sure to subscribe and leave a review if you like it. Tell us that you think that we're wonderful, and I'll keep making these. And if you think it's awful, please don't tell me. So all right, you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.